Hi, welcome back. So we're just going to do a funny little montage video today with different knots and plaits and a few interesting little tricks about taking the bridle off and on if you want to do that with a head collar on the horse first. We're going to start with two different knots for tying up your horse. The first one is the standard quick release knot that I think everybody knows, so you can quickly release, obviously, if your horse was to panic or something, or you needed to get him untied quickly. And the second one is also quick release, but it's a slightly different one that I actually learned from Miguel when I came here to Spain, and it's very handy if you've got a longer rope and you want to get the rope out the way. So now we're going to look at three different kinds of knots for securing things. First one is for if you want to ride out and take a rope with you. If you're going to tie your horse somewhere, or for a lead horse or whatever, just a handy way to neatly have a rope on your saddle. And the second one is for tying bundles of things together, which is a useful one I actually learnt way back in my British Telecom days. It's a cable lacing knot, actually. And another one that's just useful for tying things together tightly. I use it a lot on the bales of straw, and that one I learned from the gypsies at the scrapyard when we were tying stuff on top of the car. Very simple but very effective. So we're just going to look at a few handy hints to do with the bridle. So first of all, how to take the bridle off if you put it on top of the halter. Now, you might want to do that if you have problems with your horse for bridling. You know, some horses have bad habits of flinging their head up in the air. So you can use one hand, or if your horse is really bad, you can have a helper just using the rope of the halter to ask him to bring his head down while you put the bridle on. And then you can just slip it off like this through the mouth. So it goes in the front of the mouth, up over the bit and out the other side. You do have to unfasten the headband before you do this, and it's pretty tricky with a normal halter because the noseband doesn't give so much. It's much easier with a rope halter, and if you wanted to do any training to bring the head down, you would do that with a rope halter anyway. You know, it's definitely something you should teach your horse, is to put his head down when you ask for all kinds of different situations, but especially for bridling. So now we'll just take a wee look at how you tie the reins up. If you wanted to leave your horse standing tied up with the bridle on, or lunge or loose school him with the bridle on. So just to twist the reins together and then put the throat lash through the middle of the twist. Not just both reins on one side, it has to be one rein either side of the throat lash, and lots of twists, and that'll keep the reins really out the way. So we're just going to have a look at a few different kinds of plaits. Mainly you use plaits, I guess, when you're going to shows or competitions or things like that. So the ones in the main, it's very simple. You just do little plaits down and then you turn them up, and you can turn them up as tight as you want. You know, you can really roll them up into balls, or you can leave them in little loops. When I was a kid in pony, I mean, we used to sew them. We didn't use elastic bands then. The thing was, you had a bluntish needle and thread, and you used to sew the end and then go rolling it up and putting one stitch on each turn. And the tail, just, you know, the same. It's like a running plait down the centre. And again, we used to sew that with needle and thread at the end to hold it in place. You can leave that hanging down. Again, you can turn it up, get a bit creative. Sometimes people tie red ribbons on it to show the horse kicks, apparently. So now it's much more common. Everybody uses elastic bands, of which you can buy them in the tack shop, even different colours, all different colours to go with every horse colour. So a running plait, I had learnt here when I came to Spain, you know, the Spanish horses typically have very long manes, and we often plait them up for the competition. So the important thing for a running plait to be neat is you have to hold your horse's head, or tie him up with his head high, so his neck's at its shortest length when you do the plait. Otherwise, as soon as he stretches his neck down, you know, it goes all floppy. So it's not very comfortable for the horse, obviously, if you do it that tight. We used to do it like that for the exhibition, then take it out straight away. You can also do a middle parting right down the middle of the neck and do one down each side. You know, here in Spain they typically do that with ribbons in, which is usually green and white for Andalusia here, or red and yellow for Spain. And very often with the carriage horses, you know, and then they have matching little pom-poms hanging on it and on their tail, and they spend hours getting the horses ready. Anyway, Umo wears one of those running plats a lot because he has a bit of a hair issue. He gets dreadlocks in a day and it just gets so tangled up, it takes forever to get it out. And I've tried coconut oil, conditioner, every kind of spray, serum I would use on my hair, and it helps a bit, but nothing stops the dreadlocks. So we do that to just stop it getting all tangled up. And also when it's very hot weather, you know, I guess it keeps him a bit cooler, not having that big heavy mane lying over his neck. Okay, so now we're just going to do a few little bits with the halter. To put the halter on, it's always better to put the long strap around the horse's neck, well, top of his head first, and just bring his head round towards you, and then you can hold the noseband and, you know, bring his head in and he can put his nose into the noseband. It's nicer than having to chase after him. It's just a safer way to do it in case he throws his head up. And if you throw the end of the band over the top of his head, you know, you can whack him in the ear or hit yourself in the eye with it actually. So it's just a more common sense way to do it really. We're going to tie the halter knot just in a simple knot. I mean, it doesn't matter how you do it, whatever's more comfortable for you. It's just to find the way that makes it sit flattest against the horse's head so it's comfortable. We're going to tie the rope onto the halter instead of using a clip. It's just much more secure. You know, a lot of the clips you get now, they're just a bit rubbish, and any pressure, they just break. So it's good just to tie it on. It saves any accidents. If you're using it, you know, it's more accurate. It has a better feel than going through a metal clip, which is going to slide around. Yeah, I hope there's some useful things. I mean, maybe if you've been around horses a long time, you know all these things, but maybe it's useful for some people, hopefully. And even if you have, maybe you learn some new things.